I bought my vacant plot because I wanted to build a small house there someday. It wasn't a huge piece of land, but it was mine, paid for with years of savings, and I had carefully kept the property taxes current. The lot sat inside a growing residential community, surrounded by completed homes on 3 sides in an undeveloped wooded area on the 4th. When I purchased it, the HOA welcomed me like every other property owner. They collected dues from me, sent newsletters, and occasionally reminded me about future development plans. Everything seemed normal until I received a letter saying the HOA intended to incorporate my vacant plot into a proposed community park. At first, I assumed the letter contained a mistake. I called the HOA office and explained that the lot was privately owned. The manager responded that the association believed the property had originally been designated as open space. I told her I had a recorded deed proving ownership. She said the HOA's documents showed otherwise. I asked her to send me those documents. Instead, I received a photocopy of an old development map with my lot shaded green. There was no signature transferring ownership, no deed, and no recorded easement giving the HOA control over the property. It was simply a planning map. The following weekend, I visited the lot and discovered orange flags had been placed along its perimeter. A contractor was standing near the entrance measuring the land. I asked what he was doing. He told me the HOA had hired his company to prepare the area for a walking trail and community park. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Nobody had asked permission. Nobody had contacted me about construction. They were already planning to use my land. I immediately contacted an attorney and had him send a formal notice ordering the HOA and its contractors to stay off the property. The contractor left, but the HOA president called me that evening. She accused me of trying to interfere with a project that would benefit everyone. I told her that if everyone wanted a park, the HOA could purchase the land from me. She became angry and said the association didn't need to buy land it already owned. That statement became the turning point. My attorney hired an independent land surveyor to inspect the property. The surveyor reviewed the current county records, the original subdivision plans, neighboring deeds, and historical surveys. Then he went onto the property looking for physical evidence of the original boundaries. He discovered something buried beneath years of vegetation near the wooded edge, an old iron survey marker. The marker was nearly impossible to see. It was covered by dirt, roots, and fallen leaves. But its location matched the original legal description in my deed. The surveyor located additional evidence on the opposite side of the property. When he connected the points, the boundaries were unmistakable. My entire plot was a separate parcel. The HOA's green shaded map had apparently been created during the early planning stages of the development. At some point, the developer changed the layout. The park concept had been abandoned, and the land was divided into private lots. The HOA had apparently found an outdated copy of the original plan and assumed it still controlled the property. But that wasn't enough for them to admit defeat. At the next meeting, the HOA president claimed that because the lot had remained undeveloped for years, the community had developed an implied right to use it. My attorney asked where that right was recorded. She couldn't provide an answer. She then argued that the HOA had maintained the surrounding landscaping, which supposedly gave it an interest in the property. Again, there was no legal document. The surveyor presented his findings. He showed the original marker location and explained how it matched the legal description. He also demonstrated that the HOA's map did not correspond to the recorded subdivision plat. The room went quiet. Then someone asked the HOA president why the association had already hired a contractor if ownership had never been established. She had no answer. The HOA learned that lesson when one forgotten boundary marker turned an entire community project upside down.